Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the match preview, Nottingham Forest versus Everton, in a massive game now, isn't it? It's become a massive game. I know it would have been a big game anyway, but again, it is another huge game. Everton's first away game since we were given our 10-point deduction. But obviously playing a team that a couple of weeks ago, even if we still had the 10 points, we'd be looking at this game going, great opportunity to get above one of the teams around us. But now you look at these games and you just think to yourself, these are the ones that we've got to start getting points off. And before, and these were the games we were getting something out of. So it'd be interesting, I wanted to see if we keep going with that. We're still doing the good things away from home that have been getting us the points and the wins.
Yeah, I mean, the players and the manager will be hopefully working on that basis. You know, like the manager said in his press conference park, the 10-point thing, put it to one side. Forget about the league table for now. Think about the form you're in. I think Everton have won more games than Forest this season, or if they haven't, they've won the same as them. So, you know, we know where we should be really in the league table. And that gives us the opportunity to claw some points back on these now then, because we were around them or just above them. They're a strong side at home, we know that, but they did lose last weekend against Brighton. So we've got to use that to our advantage. And we have been decent away under Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
We're better away than we are at home currently. Go and do it. Big game, go and get a result in it. Because ultimately, for the players and the manager, it's about winning games of footy.
Yeah, and I think obviously with it being an away game, a lot of that emotion is going to be, or has to be put to the side. Obviously last Sunday was very emotive at Goodison Park. Obviously the fans showed the feelings, we all showed our feelings, and that has to be put to one side. Now there is a game of football where no one cares about us losing 10 points. Teams like Forest will be made up, makes their life a bit more comfortable for the rest of the season. These are the ones where we've got to see that real reaction. Is it affecting players? Did last Sunday affect players? Well, that's gone now. Everton plays now have got to knuckle down, and as you just said, they show exactly what they've been showing this season. Getting into games early, staying in the games away from home, and hopefully coming out with the 3 points. And Forest, yeah, it is. It's not an easy place to go. I think the last home win was against Aston Villa, who obviously have been in great form. They've only got 3 home wins this season. I mean, it's obviously more than we've got at home, but they've only got 3 home wins. It was obviously last season. It was it's what kept them up, and we've just got to go there, haven't we, and put the pressure on them, make them feel like they're in a little bit of a fight, like they're in a little bit of trouble. Because as I said, I think they've only won 1 game since September, and that was against Villa. Lost Brighton recently. Luton clawed back a 2-2 draw, which at the time I was fuming about, and the week after I wasn't fuming about it, and now I'm fuming again about it. That's how horrible this season's been in the last couple of weeks. But these are the games. We've got to win these games, haven't we? We've got to make sure we don't lose these games.
That's the thing.
Because without having a go at Sean Dyche, apart from the Arsenal game, his first game, and the Brighton game away, we haven't done too well. We've been comfortably beaten by most of the teams who are in and around the top 6. It's these games that we've shown obviously more in. And these are the games where we have got to be getting the points and finding those wins that we hope will get us away from where we shouldn't be, really.
Yeah, I mean, these are the opportunities. Like I said, in general, since the manager's come in, we've been quite solid away from home. We've looked good. We've done well this season, haven't we? Won at Brentford, won at West Ham. A couple of real solid performances in those games. Won at Crystal Palace. So we've done quite well, particularly of late. Won at Villa in the Cup. So we have gone away and given a decent account of ourselves. Obviously, this was a fixture last season. We should have won on the day at the City Ground. We drew 2-2, but we should have put the game to bed, and we didn't. And obviously, they scored a late equaliser. But it will be a tough game. They're a great crowd. They're solid at home, but they're not in great form and that. And obviously, they've lost Awoni, the forward, haven't he? He was a big threat and big powerful striker. Got Chris Wood as well, of course. He's another one, but for Everton, we've just got to go in there, dig in like we did at Palace, but play with that same freedom. We were playing with a little bit more freedom of late, which is why we were winning games. I think we were quite tense against United because of the emotion. What Everton, I've just said it before, and the risk of repeating myself, we have somehow just got to forget about the league, forget about the 10 points, keep yourself in that mindset that you're 13th, 14th and play with that freedom of trying to catch teams above you. I don't know whether you can, but that's what you have to aim for, because that's what we were doing. And who knows, if we get a few of those points back, it'll help even further. But this is a chance to reduce the points between Forest and Everton. Big game, tough game, but is it winnable? Absolutely it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mindset you can't really, and a lot of players won't understand, and obviously fans don't understand it either. If there aren't too many players you can say to, well, you were heading towards mid-table and the next week you weren't, you were in the bottom three. There's not many players you can speak to and go, well, how do you understand that mindset? Because not many have been into that in that position. So it must be really difficult for them. It's really easy, isn't it, to say, I'll just keep doing what you were doing, forget about where you are in the league. But they can't, because they're human beings. It is their job, and suddenly extra pressure's being put on them. So I think it's easy for us to say that, isn't it? You know, just do what you've been doing. But when the added pressure, and the added pressure comes from the outside, obviously, you know, this game's 5:30 kickoff on TV. You know, that's all we're going to be talking about. That's all we already know. We've seen the press conference with Sean Dyche, and the first question is, oh, what about these possibility of extra points deduction? And you're like, well, it's not a Nottingham story. It's a bit of a, well, that could affect anybody. Mm-hmm. But you've thrown on our toes, and suddenly they're saying, you know, this isn't going away, is it?
No.
It's not going away. The questions aren't going to go away until we have the appeal, and then we'd have to wait for the new books to go through as well. So it just feels like it's hanging there all the time. It's certainly in the back of my mind all the time, and I'm sure as a player, it'll be difficult as well. But I suppose they've just got to switch off on that, haven't they?
Yeah, but they can do something about it. We can't. Yeah. All we can do is watch and back them and worry about it all day. They're the ones in the middle of it. They can affect it by going and win the game. You know, they'd have taken the chances on Sunday against United. They'd have won the game. It could have been 3-1 up at half-time, Goodison, and that was it. That's when the game changed. They came out second half. They didn't really come out second half. And before they knew it, they were 2-0 down because of a penalty decision. Well, we've got to go at the weekend. And when we get those opportunities, we've got to take them. We take them chances at the weekend and win the game. They've done their bit. You know, the lawyers and everything else will have to do their bit on the appeal. But all the players and the manager can do is focus on what's in front of them. Yeah. Sean Dyche is a manager that doesn't get too low and he doesn't get too high. And I imagine that has been the mantra at Finch Farm. Certainly this week. United game was slightly different. There was a lot of anger, emotion around that game. It might have been difficult for the players to, I don't know. I don't really want to give them an excuse, because I still think they could have. They performed well enough in the first half to get something out of the game, and they were below par second half and got punished for it. So this one, we just got to be on it. The fans will be on it, and they just got to see an opportunity for a team that, even though all of a sudden now we're second to bottom, we've won more games than the bottom three, you know, the bottom three, the bottom four put together, so all the same as amount as them. Yeah. So we've got to, in our mindset, think, well, we're actually closer to Nottingham Forest than we are to Burnley because of the wins, the way we were playing. And if we do that and chase the game, put it this way, if the 10 points are being suspended, you'd be going into this game thinking we can beat these. Chance to move away even further from them. If not, get a draw. Well, the same applies. Yeah. If you can't win, don't lose. Yeah. Keep just chipping away at those, you know, keep staying in touch. But I think the manager and the coaching staff will be saying, this is an opportunity. These aren't flying right now, and this is an opportunity to maybe catch them. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Right, let's have a little look at some of the stats ahead of this game.
This Saturday, the 2nd of December, 5:30pm, Everton will play Nottingham Forest at the City Ground in Nottingham. This will be Dyche's second trip to the City Ground as Everton manager, with the previous meeting taking place in March of this year, ending in a 2-2 draw with goals from Decore and Damari Gray for Everton, and a brace from current Spurs forward Brennan Johnson. In the Premier League, Everton have met Nottingham Forest 12 times with 6 games ending in a win for the Toffees, 4 wins for Forest and 2 draws. 50% of Everton's wins against Forest have been at the City Ground, although the last time Everton won there was September 1998, a 2-0 win with 2 goals from Duncan Ferguson. This season, Everton have won 4 games, drawn 2 and lost 7. They currently sit 19th after a 10-point deduction. Nottingham Forest currently sit 15th, 3 wins, 4 draws and 6 losses. Nottingham Forest top scorer this season so far is Taiwo Awoniyi with 4 goals, although he is currently out injured with a groin injury. Everton's top scorer in the Premier League is Abdoulaye Doucouré with 4 goals, who again scored the last time the 2 teams met. In the Premier League, the 2 teams have only met twice since 1999 and both games have ended in a draw.
There you go. As we mentioned earlier, they are without their top goal scorer, but that front 3 does look obviously a bit of a threat, doesn't it? Obviously, you've got Gibbs White on one side, and you've got obviously Anthony Elanga on the other side. A player that we obviously looked to get, didn't we, as well? Do you think that might be one of those players where in the future we look at and go, we missed out on when they, because he's done all right this season, hasn't he? He's done all right, and obviously his stats show that he's an improving player, and obviously he's gone there from Manchester United and looks like he's got something to prove.
Yeah, well, we wanted him, didn't he? And he chose Forest over Everton, because I think at the end of the day we were a little bit unsettled. I think they wanted to bring him in, and you look at his stats there, 13 games, 3 goals, and XG of 1.25, so he is overperforming from that. He's got 3 assists, and his expected assists, I think, something like 1.55, hardly, something like that. So he's overperforming on both his goals, and you can see his heat map there. Yeah. His goals and his assists, but he's fast, and that's what the manager wanted to bring in as well, so that, or certainly Kevin Thelwell wanted that, and that would give us a bit of balance on both sides, a bit of pace, but he is playing off the left for Forest, and we've already got 2 that like to play out there, and a third one who plays on the right, who doesn't mind playing on the left, so if we'd have brought him in, we'd have had like 4 players for the left and none on the right. But he's quick and he's direct, and we'll have to look out for him, and it'll be interesting to see who the manager chooses at right back, because obviously Ashley Young's having a little bit of an up and down time, if I'm being kind to him at the moment. Seamus Coleman is available for this one. He's trained all week. He was sub against United. Nathan Patterson, of course, played with Scotland and came off the bench late on last week. The manager was asked about him in his press conference, and basically just said he's got to keep doing what he's doing. He's the future. So maybe that's where the change will come. Maybe Seamus Coleman will come in at right back, but then you do have to look at Anthony Elanga's pace. Yeah. But then Coleman generally does well when he's up against the winger. He just has to concentrate on. But because I don't see him putting Patterson in, even though Patterson would probably. Yeah,
I do find it a little bit strange. I understand the manager's trying to get us into a place where there's a little bit of experience, there's a little bit of youth, and there's a little bit in the middle. But I just look at that Ashley Young situation, and we see some games. You're right, he is up and down. Some games he's been. Crystal Palace, he was fine. There was no issues. But when he's playing against pace, you can already write the script. You really can already write this. He's lost that bit.
It's the reaction time.
In the reaction time, yeah. It's up there, not down there. It's and you see that when like Garnacho last week when he skipped past him, and he doesn't have any other clue what to do but just boot the player. Whereas I don't think Seamus, like you mentioned there, I don't think Seamus does that. I think Seamus gets himself in a better position because he knows he hasn't got the pace to react in a certain way, so he almost shapes in a certain way. Whereas Ashley Young might still think he's got that burst of pace. And he might have that burst of pace, and that might be great when you're on a bit of grass and it's like me versus you, and it's a straight. But it's that reaction of when someone does something a little bit tricky. And that's my worry again, is that we saw him get sent off against against Liverpool, so we saw him give away a penalty against Manchester United.
He could have been off, couldn't he?
Again, that reaction time. And I look at that and think, there's got to be times in the games where the manager has to look at the situation a little bit earlier. I thought last Sunday he should have gone off, if not half time, he should have just gone off the minute he gave the penalty away, and you should have said, right, we're 2-0 down, we need to change this for us. and let's get Patterson on to start getting up and down and take a few more risks. And I do. There is always that thing when you have managers and you think, where are the blind spots? And listen, all managers do have blind spots. They pick players that you don't want them to pick, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I do also think there's games where the manager has to have a little look at it and think, is this the game for him? Will we get away with that in this game? Of course, he's on 4 yellows as well, Ashley Young. So if he was to pick up a yellow in this game, then it obviously missed the Newcastle game. So you've got to make that change. But it's going to be an interesting one. Let's just have a look at the rest of the Everton team from last Sunday as well. Little bit of a doubt over Dominic Calvert-Lewin for this game. Obviously, we know Onana's not going to be fit for this game. So, Beto, do we, maybe if there's any kind of doubts over Dominic Calvert-Lewin, do we look to put Beto in? The manager said he's fit. Someone fell on his knee the day before the game last week, and they weren't sure, so they left him out to precaution, obviously with a lot of games. Do you think this is a game that you might go, let's just leave Dom? It's freezing cold. That does not help the muscles. It's freezing cold. Maybe give Beto a start because he's ready to go. Okay, maybe he hasn't shown loads yet coming off the bench, but maybe this is a game where you go, no, it'd be better to mix it up with all these games coming up.
Well, if there's a doubt over Dom, then you can't play him, can you? We've not done it with Onana.
Yeah.
The minute, there's still, scratch me head why Onana played against Burnley. I still can't understand for the life of me. And then he missed the Brighton game at home, which was a very winnable game. And he wasn't available because he was feeling it before the Burnley game. And that was a cup game, which the Drissagana Gay could have played in. But hey ho, it's been done. So therefore, for this one with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I understand why they've made him train inside. It's absolutely freezing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And therefore, what's the point of it? It's feeling tight, and it might, they'll obviously make that decision as close to kick-off as possible. But if there's any doubt, we have got so many games coming up. Play Beto and have Chimiti on the bench. Chimiti's scoring goals for Portugal under 20s. Came on, looked lively against United for whatever he was on, 10 minutes or so last week. Play Beto for 75 minutes, see how you're getting on. If he's all right, great. If he's looking knackered, throw Chimiti on for the last 15. Still getting a 6'4" striker. Yeah. Do you know, it's not the same as Dom. When Dom's flying, he's a real handful, but Dom hasn't really been on it the last few games for whatever reason. He came back in a blaze of glory, he was scoring goals, he was playing nearly well.
Yeah.
Didn't have a great game against Crystal Palace away. He didn't do anything wrong, but he wasn't in the game much. Isolated. Burnley at home, he was all right, but again, that was a game I thought Beto should have started. Yeah. And Manchester United at the weekend, he faded from the game totally. And
he did second half.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. So now make sure that his muscles are right, because we've got 2 big home games in three or 4 days. But this is a big game, don't get me wrong. But we need everyone who's fit and ready to go. So if there's any doubt with Dom, I'd just throw Beto in. Throw Beto in and take it from there.
Yeah, I think,
and that's what he was bought for, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And we've got game on Thursday, game on the Sunday. There's going to be a lot of there's a lot of games coming up. And what you don't want is to hear that horrible sort of thing. Oh, he's going to be missing for 2 weeks. 2 weeks in December is not like 2 weeks any other time. No. You could be talking 4 games, 5 games if it's late December.
What a time for Beto to get a Beto brace.
No Beto time.
Beto goal.
No Beto time.
There isn't. Get his first Premier League goals in a win of Forest. What a great day that'd be.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's it's obviously a big game, and like you said, Everton have got to start just bringing that 10 points down as fast as possible.
That's the goal now. Is we've got games, they're tough, but every game's your opportunity to work away at that, chip away. We've got to look at Luton and go, right, you're the next in line. We're coming after you and start. It's 5 points now. Now, okay, they'll have weeks where it's good and weeks where it's bad, won't it? I think it's Luton have got a couple of difficult games coming up. We've got to make sure we get positive results so that we're next. So if we can get either next to Luton or ahead of Luton, all of a sudden they're looking, going, they had 10 points taken off them and they're still above. That's mentally, that's a real tough battle to get over. It's no good if we let games pass us by without getting points and they're just adding on to their total. Otherwise, we're going to have to
I think what we've got to do is The other side of it is, like, subliminally for us, we've got to get to a point tally that we find respectable. Like, you know, after like 19 points, you got to look at it.
19 games.
19 games, sorry. I'd like to be on 19 points. No, that's what I'm saying. No, you got to get to a points position where even with the you can add the 10 on and go, actually, if we'd had the 10 points, this is what our points would be. Where, you know what I mean? What we don't want to be doing is getting to that halfway stage, maybe in the league, where you're looking at the table going, God, even with our 10 points, it's still crap. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Well, some projections against Crystal Palace after the Palace game, you were looking at like an even kind of season. People were predicting high 40s.
Oh, I know.
So therefore, even early 50s. Well, if that's the case, even with the 10 points, Everton will be fine.
See, I just don't think
you can't get yourself.
I just don't think
mode.
mentally you can do that. I just think, as I said before, we've said loads of times, it's not just us mentally having to deal with it, but other teams will be seeing it as a huge boost to them as well. You know, you can't factor in how Luton players and fans would have been feeling when this came in. They're suddenly like, we're at the bottom three. And if we win that next game and they lose their game, they've got to take games Man United. So we're 5 points clear of them. And then they'll be going, if we get a point there and point, they've got an away game. And that's the other side of it. You can't. It's give everybody else a boost, and obviously dragged us in there. And for us, if it's mental torture. It's like the mental torture continues. We thought we were getting away from it. We thought we were getting out of it, and we've been dragged back into it. And it's really hard, especially when you're playing well. You look at games, go, we'll do it, be all right. We'll get something there, fancy us against it. And then when that switch is flipped, then you look at every game in a negative way and go, oh no, we haven't beaten these since God knows when, and they're flying, and you know, Forest haven't, they haven't won for ages, or the manager's under pressure. That's that whole thing.
You look for everything.
It just all starts keeping into your head. So that's why if Everton could win on Saturday, it almost becomes like a mental reset. Going, actually, lads,
we can do.
We're not terrible, are we? We were doing all right. Man United was a blip. Let's get back doing what we were doing, and if we could do that on Saturday, and then you go, we've got 2 home games. Forget who we're playing. We've got 2 home games now, and if we get 4 points out of those 2 games, we're flying, and that's why without putting any more pressure on them.
Let's get at least 7 out the next 9.
Yeah,
do that. That'd be good.
Just do that.
That'd set us up nicely, wouldn't it?
So help us out massively.
Please, just give us 1 season, please. Just one season where we can be relaxed in like early April, please. Yeah. And it was on course for that without the Premier League.
Or just give us another point deduction, make it 40 points, and then we all know. Then we all know, don't we? We can just go, we're just preparing for next year, lads.
Make your peace with it.
You've made your peace. Well, look.
No, I like mine. Mine's better. Just
I do.
Get 7 out the next 9.
I do. Let's go
chipping away at that.
Just go and get the. Let's just go and get the point. There you go. Tough game, of course. Let's just go and win. Why not? We're boss away. The Corey scores goals away from home.
The Corey hat-trick.
You know what I mean? That's it. Get more than one. Get a couple for the Corey. Flying.
One
not even ask who your centre forward is when you've got the Corey away from home.
I want Beto. Come on, Beto, lad. Now's the time. Go full Udinese mode. Yeah. Get yourself a couple of beauties. Forest can start winning next week. But just let us just get
them fall into the abyss and then get a 10 points ban because of how many players they've bought in the last 2 years. That's a different story for a different day.
Yeah, we forget about them. It's us. Can't put it on. Forest.
Yeah, but if they got a 20-point deduction. See this is what maybe this is what we have to start doing is actually back the Premier League so they give more points deductions.
To duck Luton's points. To duck Luton for
that
not
ground.
Spending any money and doing
that ground. Ross Barkley's 10.
Ross Barkley's playing brilliantly.
Is he though?
Yeah, honestly.
Right, on that bombshell.
Let's just win. Dead easy. Just win, will you?
Let's just win.
Wait for Jimmy. Oh, come on. Big blue nose.
Shane McGowan. He actually was a blue nose.
Shane McGowan.
Actually was a blue nose. Jimmy Cook was a red.
No.
So don't bring him into the conversations.
Oh, but God rest his soul. But Shane McGowan, Evertonian, God rest his soul. The fairy tale at the City Ground. Beto, come on.
It will be December, so
it will.
Factually, it's Christmas.
Songs. There you go.
And I've got to get up on Sunday morning and be in town for a 5K at 9:30.
Is it Sunday?
For the Santa Dash.
Wow.
Imagine what I'll feel. I will do that in a record time if Everton have won.
Know what I want? Everton to go there and be able to sing Jingle Bells. Oh, what fun it is to watch Everton win away in December. Come on, Everton. Come
Can you imagine how I'll feel on Sunday if we haven't won? Running around the city centre in probably like -4.
I'll be up with the kids going with footy. Kids footy at 9:30, freezing with no can't feel your feet.
That's a choice you've made.
Is it though? Is it a choice?
You chose to have kids.
Call 'em.
You made that decision. There you go. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you want more great videos, join us over on Toffee TV Premier. The link is in the description and the QR code is coming up now. See you later.